Something went wrong, please try again later. Get the inside track on the big stories from Liverpool Crown Court with our weekly newsletter. A man stabbed and battered a taxi driver after trying to avoid paying his fare. Charlie Meadows left his victim with stab wounds to his shoulder after the assault on Ennismore Road in Old Swan last year. The driver's car was left so badly damaged in the incident, which saw other men damage it, that it had to be written off and he could not work. Read more. Man threatened neighbour with knife and gun in parking row. In an entirely separate incident, Meadows was also involved in trying to get drugs into prisons, and on one occasion, threw a tennis ball full of ecstasy over a prison wall. CCTV footage of the Old Swan assault shown to the court by Fiona McNeil, prosecuting, showed a lengthy altercation between Meadows and driver John Gunning. Meadows got out of the car without paying, but was followed by Mr. Gunning in his taxi before the men began to shout at each other. He then began to kick the car before Mr. Gunning got out and a fight started between the pair, who were joined by a number of other people from nearby houses. This altercation went on for a number of minutes, and while Mr. Gunning at first appeared to have got the better of Meadows, the 23-year-old soon began to overpower him. Meadows then stabbed Mr. Gunning 3 times. The judge, Recorder John Close, said it was not possible to come to a conclusion on where the knife came from, but he accepted that Meadows had not taken it with him. The court heard the damage done to Mr. Gunning's car, including its gearbox being broken by an unidentified man who arrived during the incident, meant it was written off. Peter Killen, defending, said Meadows was drunk at the time of the incident and had been going through difficult personal troubles at the time. He said the 23-year-old was extremely remorseful about the assault, and that it was a clear break from his recent previous convictions, none of which involved violence. Mr. Killen said, the defendant knows in a steady mind that his conduct was outrageous. He knows he is going to be in custody for some time to come. He also said his time in prison so far had been productive and allowed him to address his use of drugs. Mr. Killen said, the custody setting has helped him, not least of course, for the reason that he is not using cannabis. Meadows was also sentenced for 2 separate incidents a week apart, in 2019, which saw him smuggle Class A drugs into HMP Berwyn, in North Wales. The first incident saw him throw a tennis ball filled with ecstasy over a wall at the rear of the prison, while the second saw him throw ketamine and cannabis over the same wall. Recorder John Close said there was evidence Meadows had been naive as far as the drug offences were concerned, and that he may have been led by others to believe it was tobacco. However, he said that was only small mitigation. Recorder Close said, it is difficult to overestimate just how damaging drugs are in prisons. They put prisoners at risk. They are used as currency, they are used to extort, and they are used to control. Addressing the assault, Recorder Close said it was clear both men had originally been involved in a fight, but that Meadows' behavior had escalated into a serious assault. Recorder Close said, what happened next, and what persisted in a constant and prolonged attack, was entirely of your own making and you are entirely to blame. Meadows, of HMP Ort Course, was given a total sentence of 6 years and 3 months after pleading guilty to wounding with intent, possession of a bladed weapon, and 2 counts of trying to take Class A drugs into a prison.